I could cry right now. Richard Roundtree and I, we were friends for 53 years. Richard Pryor, he was protective of me. Louis and I had talked, about maybe a month and a half before he passed away, because he wanted...
Why ain't I see you round back when I was down?
What's up, world? It's your boy, Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast, and I am the founder of the OG Network, along with my co-founder, Ice-T, and I'm here with my lovely daughter.
What's up, world? It's Rachel Renee, and I am the VP of Operations and Culture. I'm so excited today, Father.
Yes. Today we have a legend in the building. I wish I could have, done that, got that on camera. We have a legend in the building. Y'all have seen her over the last, I don't want to make it sound, but it's getting older is a privilege not afforded to everyone.
That's right.
So the last, will we say 40 years?
I've been in the industry over 50 now.
Over 50.
Since 1970.
Okay, over 50, which I will be 50 this year.
Yes, sir.
So before I was born. Yes, so
Mommy's a little boy.
Yeah, right. So but today we have Hollywood royalty in the house. The incomparable, legendary Sheila Frazier. How are you doing, Miss Frazier?
I'm excellent. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure. I've heard a lot about you.
Thank you. Hope it was good.
Always good. Always good.
Always good. Well, I want to start off by, unfortunately, you're here in LA. You're
unfortunately,
here.
No.
Unfortunately, because you were coming to pay tribute to Judy Pace, who just passed away. And that was a friend of yours?
Very close friend. Very close friend. In fact, we all come from our organization, Kwanzaa. Now, not the one that deals with the political or the Kwanzaa Women was an organization established. Okay. It had to have been over 40 years ago. And all of the Black actresses, formed this organization. And when I first came to California, I didn't know anything about anybody. And so I went to, I was invited to go to one of the meetings. And what I found beautiful is that they weren't just trying to think of, a fundraiser here, a fundraiser here. Whenever we thought about fundraisers, it was to do something important to the community. So if it was a hospital, we were putting in new breathing, equipment and different things, and it was always about the community. So I was happy to be a part of them, and so at Judy's funeral, that they had a whole section for the Kwanzaa, people just to salute her, basically. Yes,
right. But
I didn't get there on time because the airplane had another stop, and then something went wrong with something in the aircraft. They said it would be a couple of minutes, and it turned out to be over an hour. So by the time I got to Los Angeles, it was over. So we just went to the what is that called?
Repass.
The repast, definitely, but
the burial.
But all the cars are.
Oh, okay. Yes, the procession.
The procession. Thank you. And so we just saw them, kind of place her in the wall, and that was hard for all of us. Anyway, but she was amazing, brilliant. She was a brilliant woman, and whenever I had difficulty or problems in any kind of a situation, I would call Judy. And, and so I said, so Judy, I don't know if I need to just go directly to her and say such and such and just ask her what is going on, why, blah, blah, blah. And so she smiled. She says, never.
Yeah.
And she said, first, you always approach it with a smile.
Yes.
Always. And she said, anyone who you feel has been unkind or difficult, she said, always approach it with a smile, and she would say, and just always have a discussion with them about them.
Yes.
And then from there, you can ask whatever question. Did I do something to offend you or whatever and whatnot? But everything had a smile. She was just amazing.
What's up, world? It's your boy, Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast, and I am the co-founder of the OG Network. And if you're enjoying this episode and you want to watch the full episode, then what I need you to do is go download the OG Network. Available on Roku, Google Play, Fire TV, and Apple Mobile. And again, if you liking this and you want to watch the full episode, because we only giving you a little bit over here, go watch the full episode on OG Network. Go download the app now. Don't meet me there, beat me there. Salute. You get more bees with honey.
Yeah. Yeah. But she was brilliant in the sense that you could mention anything like that was going on in the world. She knew the whole history of it. Mm-hmm. She could break down, especially our history, and I love our history too. So it's not that I don't know about it, but she knew so much. I just had to sit there like this because she went into areas I'd never heard of. So anyway.
Wow.
So I'm going to miss her.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Judy Pace.
Yeah.
I kind of want to start from the beginning a little bit. Okay. I know you said you're from New York, right? Okay. Born and raised, grew up in New York.
Born and raised.
Okay.
Well, until we moved to Englewood, New Jersey
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm from New York.
Okay. Yeah. What were race relations like in your day growing up in New York?
We came out of the projects on the Lower East Side of New York, and everybody got along. Our neighbors, they were Jewish on the next floor down. They were Hispanic. My uncle, who's a jazz musician, Jackie McLean, he was on the like third floor, and just everybody was okay with everybody. And then when we moved to Englewood, New Jersey, it was the same thing. It was the same thing.
Okay, so you didn't experience much racism growing up? Oh, wow.
Well, not at that age.
Okay.
No,
okay.
I didn't know anything about
when
that.
Did that, because,
shift?
When did that shift for you?
I think when I came out to California.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I think in the world of entertainment, I saw where I finally saw face to face how they, if for example you were in a movie like Superfly, okay. So so they always thought that was who you were.
Yes.
As opposed to that was just a role or whatnot. And so I remember the head of now who was it? What film company
did Superfly?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember.
And I know that movie well.
But the head of that, and so he said...
Gordon Parks, I think was his.
No, not the director, the head of the network.
Okay.
And so, I had a meeting, with him and whatnot, and he says that, the movie's doing really, really well. And, and so rather than stopping there, he said, yeah, yes, and you've got a lovely ass.
Oh.
And I stopped and I said, excuse me, what did you say? Mm-hmm. Well, your ass is going to be, famous. And then I said, meeting's over.
Oh, wow.
Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Whoops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he felt as though his position made it okay, to say something like that. And I don't tolerate that.
Right. Wow.
I really don't.
So now that you brought up, Superfly, which, I would want to say thank you because Superfly is the #1 movie that we have on the OG network. It's doing really well. So thank you. But how did you come about getting that role in Superfly?
Well,
and before, because I want to preface this, I heard you got it, and then you didn't get it, and you got it again.
There, right.
So can you take us through that?
Exactly. I knew Gordon Parks Sr. because I done one of his films, and so when Junior was having this, I said, "Oh, I'd love to do that." So. He, I didn't know how. I was so green. I didn't know how to get in there, where I could have an audition. Well, Richard Roundtree was my best friend then, and so I asked him. I said, listen, okay, so you just came off the road with Shaft. Do you think that you could find out if I could get an audition and whatnot? So he and his manager, Bill Cherry, said, listen, when you go we'll get you the audition. When you go in, you've got to walk in there like it was yours already. Don't be afraid. And I said, okay, I can do this. So when I walked in the room, every black actress that I'd seen on television, and I'm just like, I'm not going to, I don't know how this is going to be. So there was a corner. So I actually sat on the floor and just kind of watched them, just like a little kid watching. So I was the last person that they invited to audition because they were about to close shop. And so I said, okay, act as though it's mine. Okay, act as though it's mine. And when I walked into the producer's office, I put my feet up on his desk. I said, you may as well forget about having anybody else because this is my role.
Wow.
So he laughed like, really? Whoa, okay. Okay. Oh, on that note, I think we would like you to come back to Mar and read with Ron O'Neal. And I had just seen Ron in a play. And I said, who is that man? Oh, my God. He is so handsome. Oh, God. And so, wow, right? So I said, Ron O'Neal? Okay, I'll see you tomorrow and whatnot. And it just turned out we clicked. And we clicked professionally. There wasn't any kind of silliness and whatnot. And that was it. They told me I had it. I'm like, oh, my goodness, I have the role. The producer, Gordon Parks Jr. called me back. He says, Sheila, I'm so sorry, but the producer wants someone else, to play the role. And I said, you're kidding me. And they said, no, because he wants to see a really voluptuous, woman. So he wants me to bring in, and she's a wonderful model, a sweetheart, and she had what I didn't have, And so I said, oh, okay, all right. And I said, listen, do me a favor. Please don't call me anymore. All right, I'm fine. I changed my telephone number, and everything. And I just went back to, because I was trying to pursue modeling. And so I went back to that, and I was waiting for a photographer, to meet me in this, area and whatnot, because we were going to go in Central Park and take some new headshots and such and whatnot. So the guy comes and whatnot, and no, he wasn't the photographer. He just, came, and he says, to me, hey, I'm a producer and such and such and such. I said, really, a producer of what? And he said, a movie. A movie. And so he says, how would you like to come and audition for my movie? And so I said, what's your movie? And so he said, Superfly. I said, nope. Nope. And so he said, what's your name? And I said, Sheila Frazier. And he said, we've been looking for you for 3 months, and I said, oh, here it goes, like another rap, right? Yeah. And I said, okay. I said, listen, well, I've got to go. He said, no, miss, can I take your number? Because I promise you, they really are trying to find you because, none of your phones work. And so I gave him my number. just in case, and that night, Gordon called and we talked. And so he said, it didn't work out, but we'd love, So I said, okay, when do you want to start? This was on, I think, a Tuesday or Wednesday. He says, we want to start on Friday. and he said, but what we want you to do first, we want you to meet Ron, and we want you guys to talk.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I went to Ron's apartment in Midtown, and so he had cooked spaghetti, and whatnot, and he had opera, like playing, and that's where his head was. And I would say, well, he's a real square. Wow,
yeah.
He really
he's a classically trained actor.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much. Very, very intelligent. He was very, very intelligent. So we listened to opera and talked. And I became very comfortable. He didn't make any passes and whatnot. He says, I know this is not going to be easy, for you. And so I said, really? I said, I want to even know if there's a different way of doing this, but the director said, no, that this is it, but it'll just be a closed set and such and such and such. And so it worked out for us.
And that was particularly for the bathtub scene.
For the bathtub scene, yeah. And the scene, okay, so we were in a bathtub, but nobody had told us that the bathtub, it's like if you took concrete and just smashed it up into little pieces and whatnot.
Like gravel.
That's gravel, yeah. That's what we would do in the scenes. Every time we had to turn, slosh over and slosh over, and we're like, ow,
sloshed.
And I said the only way I'm going to do this is if you have bubbles.
Yes, it was a lot of bubbles.
Right.
I felt like the bubbles was used to kind of cover something.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That is exactly right. I said when the bubbles start to go down, I want you to stop rolling, and I want to get out. And I want you to, and they did, they did. But then when I went to the premiere and I'm sitting there, I did not expect my butt to be in slow motion.
In slow motion,
in slow motion. And I'm saying, what the heck? And I'm looking around, and that was I didn't like that.
You didn't like that?
No, because I didn't even like nudity.
Yes.
So it was really a big something for my head.
Especially
I don't know.
For that day, it was very risque. Especially
very
for that.
much so. Yeah. And I didn't think it was. I thought that the scene might be about 3 minutes or so, and then they move on.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't until then. But what I noticed was Curtis Mayfield was having a concert, and so I went. In my usual, I always had a baseball cap on and my jeans. So I'm going, like that. I'm back in my world, And when I got to Madison Square Garden, there was a ton of people coming in. All the women had my coat on, had my hat, on and whatnot. And I'm looking around like,
wow.
They didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
Because it was fly.
Huh?
Yeah,
it was super fly. Even being younger, like I remember the first time I saw that scene when I was like, this was back at Grandma Renee's. This was early 2000s because he would loop like Superfly, Badass. I'm gonna get you, sucker. He had his comfort movies, and I remember the first time I saw it, and I just remember thinking, even as a little girl, and I was like, man, I hope my skin looked like that. I hope my skin looked like that. But as
you
we
looked
get
really
older,
good, respectfully.
Yeah, for
thank
sure.
you.
It's
Thank
iconic. And as we get older, just even to give context for that time, like I think culturally we were shifting because we were coming up off the 60s sexual revolution. You had Deep Throat that just came out the summer before Superfly. So I think they were trying to push the envelope, but I can understand how you cannot be ready, coming
I'd
up
never
off of...
even seen any Deep. I think I heard about Deep Throat like months later. When I'd heard, I said, I don't like that title.
Right. Yeah, but they were pushing the envelope back then. And the funny thing about like during that scene, because I've had love scenes as well, and it's not as an actor, it's not what it looks like.
That's right. That's right.
Because you don't hear that there's a camera guy, saying, okay, now touch your face. Okay, readjust, move the light over
Spray
there.
more.
Like,
Right.
it's all but what it looks like to you.
That's right. That's right.
When you were doing Superfly, did in real time, and I mean probably not, did you had no idea that it would be have the cultural impact that it had?
Ron nor I had that. Yeah. We just happened to be walking down. I think it was Columbus Avenue, and there was like a bus of people, and they saw him, and they were screaming, priest, Superfly, and we're looking at each other like, uh-oh, I think we have something here and whatnot. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was for me. It was a great experience. One because I saw a Black man. He didn't get killed, and he was in charge of his future. I wanted, I was a woman who wanted him out of the game and such and whatnot. But usually in the films that we had come up with, we grew up with, Black people never survived.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Our Black men particularly always got killed. So from that position, to me, it was worth it.
And
it was worth it.
And that brings me to another question. So I hear that, but I know still, even though you guys are working, right? And then, we still have our Black actors being, presented as stronger, the hero somewhat. But then at the same time, kind of perpetuating these stereotypes. So did that ever, was there ever a qualm internally with you with, like, okay, we're working, we're doing these movies, but at the same time, we're kind of perpetuating the stereotypes.
You're talking about the movies after Superfly.
Yes, or even Superfly, even though it's a dope movie, but you still have the, the pimp, the drug dealer, the things like that. So was that even a conversation back then, or?
Well, yes, and no, because the idea behind Superfly was to reflect what was going on in our communities, and so so you had the pimp and you had the drugs, the drug dealer, and we didn't want Superfly to be about drugs. That's why it was important that he wanted his way out. But it is and was a snapshot of that era. And what was going on in our communities all over. Not just Harlem and New York, and whatnot, but like, yes. In terms of the drugs, okay, I didn't like all that where they showed everybody was sniffing cocaine, and such, because I thought that really didn't have anything to do with the truth of what the movie was about, and so I don't know why that was placed in there, and whatnot, but no, I disagreed with it, and I'm sure others in the film probably did as well. I don't think I really had much of a conversation with anyone about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, to piggyback off of what you said, I watched an interview with Fred Williamson on Vlad TV a few years ago, and he spoke about the term blaxploitation, and going off of what my dad said, because I think at the time, like, yes, you have all of these Black actors on, on set, even maybe some producers, but then also mirroring what's happened. What are your thoughts around the term blaxploitation versus just Black cinema or soulful cinema?
Yeah. That whole black exploitation came from a Black man who was really angry about the success of Superfly. So like he was trying to throw this wedge in there so that it wouldn't be it wouldn't be in the press long and whatnot. So he worked very hard to do that, but it didn't work, because the truth of it was, it was what real life was back in the, that time. Because in Harlem, you had a lot of, I guess, I don't know how many of them were drug dealers or how many of them were numbers guys and whatnot. But it was a way of, of life and whatnot. But they were very colorful.
Yeah. Colorful.
Very colorful, because there was a place, I don't know if you've ever heard of Small's Paradise. In Harlem, there was like one place called Small's Paradise that a lot of people would come and perform, and sing and such and whatnot. And so my girlfriends and I, when we got off of work, like we said, let's meet up at Small's Paradise. Okay, great. And we were square, really. And so we were watching who walked in the door or who drove up, because the men would have mink coats all the way down to the ground. Their ladies had it, and they came around with their hats, whatnot, opened the door for their ladies and whatnot, and they walked in, and it was a picture perfect. They walked in and they were proud of like who they were and such and whatnot. And I thought, this is interesting. So I didn't really look at it from the standpoint, well, were they pimps, or what were they? I looked at how colorful it was and how they felt powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. And such. So I think in the cities, that was the struggle, where to find the like power. Is the power in the drug dealing, or is the power in hustlers or numbers or what have you? I think in that, during that space, when I was growing up, that it was just finding your way, because you couldn't get a job, most of them.
Right. The underworld is kind of all they really, some people had.
That's right. That is exactly right.
I'm curious. So now, you see how successful Superfly, it blows up. Now that you guys did that on a shoestring budget, right?
Right.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah,
there were 2 doctors.
Okay, 2 doctors. So based on it, because I know how tight it can be with that type of schedule, were there any interesting stories that happened while filming that's not out there?
I don't know. I mean, I can't say from my my character, because I only had how many scenes? 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe four scenes.
Okay,
and then I was, gone.
Okay,
pretty much.
Got you.
Yeah. So if I don't know,
but then you get the call for Superfly TNT, right? Then you get the call for Superfly TNT.
Oh well, there was no way that they could live up to Superfly 1.
Right.
And it's like,
Yeah. What did you think about that when you saw the script of Superfly TNT, and then y'all go to Rome? Even though cool, you get to go, right? But what did you think about the script and the whole direction of Superfly TNT?
I thought it was kind of corny, but I thought that, okay, Ron had his opportunity to direct that, and there was always this war between Ron and Sig, who was the producer and whatnot. So Ron had edited the film completely different. Okay. Sig said, well, I'm in charge. He comes back and he re-edits it, and he puts the back of the film in the front of the film. I mean, he didn't know what he was doing. And this was Ron's first thing. So when they said, was it ain't nothing to it or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I was like, oops. Okay, I guess that's it for Superfly.
Yeah. So when did you feel like when you saw the script, did you have you had your reservations in terms of the direction though?
For me, because I was not, someone who had done a lot of work, and whatnot. So to me, it probably was just, okay, well, I'm going to act again.
Yeah, I got you.
Because I hadn't done really, anything. Ron was well known in Cleveland as a stage actor, and the other people. So I didn't have a clue.
So you didn't do a lot of theater and different things like that before?
No.
Oh, wow. So you're just a natural. You just hopped in there and did it.
I did one play in California, and the week before I begged the director, please find someone else because I was scared to death to perform in front of somebody. Anyway, I will wind up being nominated for an award.
Oh, wow.
Because as time went on, I mean, when we kept doing the play, each night and whatnot, I got more and more, comfortable. So I kind of ad-libbed some things and whatnot that worked. But that was it. That was my last play.
What's up, world? It's your boy, Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast, and I am the co-founder of the OG Network. And if you're enjoying this episode and you want to watch the full episode, then what I need you to do is go download the OG Network. Available on Roku, Google Play, Fire TV, and Apple Mobile. And again, if you were liking this and you want to watch the full episode, because we're only giving you a little bit over here, go watch the full episode on OG Network. Go download the app now. Don't meet me there, beat me there. Salute.